Hi, Misha here, and with recent Eagle Moss news and just trying to do something a little different, kind of felt like revisiting Star Wars, which did a year or two ago, and I actually picked up one quite recently on eBay. It's one of the rarer ones in the old titanium collection, the Republic fighter tank, also known as the Saber tank, assault tank, or the TX-130 tank. And if you don't recognize it, that's understandable because this is an odd one for them to have done. And it's actually one of the rarest models in that old collection. Part of it was because it came out in 2009, essentially the last year for new molds. And also part because it's one of the few based on more beta canon stuff. There were some others, quite a few based on the Shadows of the Empire game. And this one here is actually based, well, on something first seen in the Star Wars Clone Wars game. Later, it was in the novelization of Revenge of the Sith. And it was in Empire at War, Battlefront 2, and a few other games and books besides. So it's an odd one, and one I didn't have, and these are still inexpensive, although not easy to find all the time. They're just little die-cast things, half model, half toy. This one does have some moving parts. There's not a ton of information out there on this model because of its purpose, but it's actually classed as a repulsor vehicle. It can float up to about 10 meters off the ground. And it's kind of a fighter style. It's got a big fighter engine in the back. And it has two heavy laser guns here that are basically fixed in the forward position, although they can move up and down a bit. And then secondary armament. There's a little turret on top, and this can be a little bit modular. It can either have a beam weapon or a couple of medium lasers, kind of anti-personnel. And then on these pontoons or sponsons in the front, each one has an ordnance launcher, and they can carry anti-armor projectiles or anti-fortification, so-called bunker buster projectiles, or high-energy projectiles, kind of a one-size-fits-all. Because this was meant to be a rapid response little strike tank. It pretty high speed. It was designed for assaults. It was designed to escort troops. It was designed to be anti-armor, at least anti-light armor. And it was designed to take out some fortifications depending on if it was equipped properly. It has a crew standard of 4, pilot and co-pilot, and tandem seating in the fighter-style cockpit, and then a gunner behind and above them, and then a vehicle commander besides that. It can carry 2 troopers into battle, and it can even carry an astromech droid if needed. It does have a blade of armor, and it does have a shield generator of sorts, and so it's designed to take fire from infantry weapons or light armor weapons, but it definitely would not hold up against heavy weapons. It mostly uses its speed, maneuverability for kind of defense, and these typically operated in groups, squadrons, or platoons. And they were made by Rothana Heavy Engineering. They appeared early in the Clone Wars, but they were not available in the very beginning, so around 21 BBY maybe. And they were designed to operate in all kinds of environments: desert, swamp, snow, possibly theoretically even in an airless atmosphere, but they do need a surface because again they can only hover for a bit. So kind of like a speeder bike. and they were designed for mass production. They were quite popular during the Clone Wars for their flexibility, utility, and so production would continue into the Imperial Age, I guess, yeah. The original version was the TX-130S. This would give way to the TX-130T during the Empire, and there was even a scout variant known as the SC-2M, which was still considered a Saber tank, but not a fighter tank. So, in some of these versions, lack the top turret, including the scout variant. So production would continue into the Imperial Age. They would deploy them, and the rebels would get their hands on some. In fact, they were a pretty prized capture from the Empire when the rebels could get some. Again, because of the pretty good defense. I mean, keep in mind this has shielding and better armor than a TIE fighter. Although it does take a crew of 4 to operate properly, and so it's a bit expensive for what it is. But then again, we have 2 heavy guns, 2 medium guns, or 1 beam gun on top that's a little bit flexible. And then we can load it with ordnance. If we want it to be an escorter or an anti-armor or an anti-fortification, we can load it up with the correct shells or projectiles. I don't know. Like I said, it's from a game and a book, but it kind of fills a neat role, and it's neat to see a fighter-style tank. This isn't the first. In the past, there were things like the TIE Crawler, which was basically a TIE fighter with tracks instead of wings. So it's not the first. I think I always want to pick one of these up if I could ever find them for a little bit of money. And, yeah, moving parts. The top's all metal, except for the guns. The bottom is partially plastic. And it does come with a base. It's a little odd. Most of the repulsor vehicles in this line actually come with a stand so they can kind of hover. But this one has a base, so that's okay. Some of the early legged vehicles in the titanium line did not come with any. And as far as I know, this has never been reprinted or remade, like, say, in the newer Black Series. I don't know. This is something different, short, sweet. But just thinking of new things to do. So I had these out, kind of dusting them off. I figured, why not? Change of pace is good. So, yeah, what do you think? Maybe a bit dorky, but seems like maybe in 2022, after the whole last couple of years, we might get some new models and new toys and new things on the market, so give it a go. If you could, please do like, share, subscribe. This is Misha. Catch you very soon. Next time.